I want to update you on what's happening for hundreds of thousands of people that remain without power on Long Island, New York last night. In fact, 1.2 million in New York over the night last night. And 6 days now since Sandy pummeled the East Coast, working on a week at the moment. Folks in the close-knit town of Long Beach coming to grips with the vast destruction from with the likes of a storm they have never seen in their lives.
So scary, and the closest I've ever felt to my own mortality, and my children, and it was just a devastating night.
Indeed it was. Congressman Peter King's district is Long Island, hardest hit by Sandy. And sir, good morning to you.
Good morning, Bill.
You sent us a few pictures. We'll put them on the screen here. Folks are, literally taking the lives out of their homes and tossing it on the curbside because it's no good anymore. Now, what are you seeing? What do you find? What do you need?
Bill, it's absolutely devastating. It reminds you of the scenes you see after World War II. Again, these are solid middle-class communities, devastated, torn apart. Houses, Brian Kilmeade, a house about 4 or 5 down from where Brian Kilmeade lives, is blown up. It's gone. There's nothing there anymore. But others, you just see, again, people's life, all the possessions are out in the street. Walls are missing from their house. Over 400,000 people are still out of power. For instance, Brian and I are still without power, which we can survive. But I'm much more concerned about senior citizens who really don't have the strong physical health, young kids, especially kids with bronchial conditions or possible pneumonia, and there's no real date given when the power is going to come back. We also have gas lines running a half mile long. So it's a devastating situation. Having said that, the spirit of the people is phenomenal. I have not heard one person yet who was complaining. They all want to fight back, and they are, again, very supportive of each other. But it is a real reminder of how vulnerable we are, and also how it's important that everyone works together to try to get through this. No one's looking for sympathy on Long Island, I can tell you that.
Wow,
but they do want to
amazing.
stand together, and they do want to fight back.
I tell you, just flying in from Ohio late last night, you can see the power back on in Manhattan and parts of Queens and Brooklyn. But the southern edge of Long Island, toward the Atlantic side, that district that you cover and you represent, it was dark as night down there. And there were generator lights on about every 300 yards you could see.
Right.
And there were police sirens on various street corners. And I got to tell you, it just looked, on a cold, chilly night in the Northeast, a place where you just do not want to be.
No, in fact, it was very cold last night. Last night was probably the coldest night we've had. And now they're talking about on Wednesday a possible nor'easter coming through. I was in Long Beach yesterday, and I was with Secretary Napolitano, and I give her thanks for coming in. We were walking down the street, and it was about a minute or two before she realized we were on the street and not the beach. All of the sand from the ocean has just overwhelmed the city. And you go to other places like South Massapequa, Lindenhurst, just hundreds and hundreds of homes are gone. There's one person, I went to his house from the front of it. I thought, boy, this guy's lucky. Nothing happened to the house. You open the door, and there's nothing behind it. It's just, you're right out into the ocean. Everything is gone. So it really is it's a drastic situation. And even though, unlike Katrina, where you could see the flooding, part of it is you can see the devastation of the homes, but you can't tell, as you said, unless you're flying over at night, that there's almost 500,000 people still without power.
That part of the country is so densely populated, too. And listen, we brought you on because we don't want to forget about the folks out there and make sure the word keeps going out, because you need the help. And Peter King, thank you. We'll touch base with you every day this week and figure out how we get you out of this mess. Okay?
Thank you, Bill. Thank you very much.
You bet. Peter King here. Mark.
Now, earlier Saturday, Homeland Secretary Janet Napolitano was on the island assessing damage and assuring victims that more help was on the way. News 12 Long Island's Jill Wagner was along for the ride with the Secretary and other New York officials. It's a story you'll see only on 12.
I'm going to walk around the back and come this way here.
Homeland Security Secretary Janet Napolitano getting a first-hand look at the hardest-hit areas across the island, from Long Beach to Massapequa.
Walk up the block here.
Congressman Peter King walked Napolitano around Forest Avenue on the Great South Bay. For many here, a total loss. Homes gutted, furniture now piled high on the sidewalk. News 12 had exclusive access to this tour here in Massapequa, and for their part, residents tell us they are just grateful they are not being forgotten.
We're very, very happy that they're here and that they care.
Napolitano also met with county officials to see what the needs are on the island. She says FEMA is here and will stay here for the foreseeable future. The agency can provide money for people who need to rebuild.
These are very strong communities. These are very strong neighborhoods. We want to assist them in doing what they are already doing, which is recovering from this storm.
You blink and you see all those other places in the country with tornadoes and hurricanes, and you go, not my backyard, and the backyard came in. It was the Great South Bay.
In Massapequa, Jill Wagner, News 12 Long Island.